You know him from several appearances. We've seen him on the screen. I'm looking forward to the new movie coming out December 3rd, available in theaters, VOD, and on demand, called Deadlock. We've got Michael DeVorzon with us today. And first off, Michael, it's a privilege to visit with you, brother.
Thanks, Cameron. Thanks for having me. Hello, everybody.
Now, the new movie Deadlock, if folks have not seen the trailer or the previews, I mean, how much fun was this one? It looks like it must have been a ball to make.
It was a blast. I mean, nonstop action and a few poignant moments, that I think I was lucky enough to do those scenes, to try to make an impact on the moment and change the course of what was going to happen. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, from the day I showed up, first of all, working with a guy that I knew back in the 90s, I literally hadn't seen him in 15 years. And when I heard Patrick Muldoon was playing the lead role, I was like, this is just surreal. I hadn't seen the guy. I had not talked to him in 15 years. And I worked in production for Melrose Place for 3 seasons. So he was on the show for 1 season, and they become like family because you talk to them every day, you see them Monday through Friday, and so it was very surreal to be in Georgia and walk onto the set, and Pat was there.
That's
And
cool.
when I said his name, he stopped and he said, "I know that voice." Because I would call him, "Hey Pat, your call time tomorrow is," you do that enough times, you're just like, that voice. So yeah, we had a lot of fun, shooting some action scenes and some fight scenes, and keeping the stakes pretty high.
Now tell the listeners about Deadlock, the story behind it. Patrick Muldoon, Bruce Willis in the cast. I mean, how cool is that too?
Oh man, it's a dream come true. Yeah, I mean, to work with a legend like Bruce, I mean, a bona fide legend. Remember the first time I met him, it was at my friend's birthday party, small group of people. And he was holding my friend's newborn baby, his first baby. And he was just standing there holding the baby. And I looked at him and I just said, the guy is so cool. Like, it's just, he's holding a baby and he looks like an action hero, like, and, I walked up and introduced myself, and I said to him, "How do you do it?" Now, what I meant was, how do you do, what you do on screen, which is this just incredible work and this combination of like cool swagger and like charm. That's what I meant. But I said, "How do you do it?" And he thought I was talking about how do you hold babies, because he looked at me and he says, "A lot of practice." So I always remembered that one. But yeah, we had a yeah, man, it was a dream come true to get to work with both of those guys, and also I did a lot of scenes with Matthew Marsden, who's an English actor, who's a great guy. We got along very well, and Jared Cohen, who's the director, who I've done a number of movies with. And no, I think I forgot what the question was.
Give our listeners just an insight into the movie if they haven't seen the trailers.
Yeah, so guys, the movie is basically, if I was to sum it up in one sentence, I would say it's about a father's quest for revenge. And that father is played by Bruce Willis. And on his quest for revenge, there is a lot of destruction. And I'm one of the characters that's on the other side of that quest for revenge. It's not particularly towards me, but I'm responsible for everybody that's involved on some level. So yeah, it's about a man's quest for revenge and what happens to him, as the insanity unravels, and as the consequences and the stakes get higher and higher.
And we talked about Bruce being the bad guy, if you will, and Patrick being the star of the show as well. And tell our listeners just a little bit about how those characters kind of collide.
Yeah, so I thought it was really interesting because I think I'm not alone in this. Usually when you think of Bruce, you think of the hero, right?
Right.
And so the fact that he was going to be playing, a menacing bad guy on a mission of revenge, taking people out left and right, I thought this is interesting. This is different. I'm sure he's probably done something like that, but mostly, we think of him as the hero saving the day. Um, so I thought that was particularly interesting. And Patrick plays a character that works on the plant that I'm in charge of. And he's an ex-army guy, and he's well trained, and he's kind of like the hidden ace in the hole that they don't know that he's there that day. And so he takes it upon himself to try to combat the evil that has flooded, our workplace. And he's taking people out left and right on his way to the great face-off that will take place in the movie between Pat, and Bruce, which pretty much comes towards the end, is when they collide. Leading up to that point, it's what's going on with Bruce and what's going on with Patrick, and then the crescendo.
Yeah.
Basically.
As you're on the set, whenever you get to see how does the lead up to that work on set? I mean, I know you guys do recording different places, different times. How do you guys build up to that in your emotion as well?
Well, I'm in that scene. I'm in that last scene where they face off, and I have, some stuff. It's very much just one scene at a time, especially on a shoot like that where we're moving quickly. There's not a lot of time to dilly-dally around. You don't necessarily know what you're going to be doing until the day before. So for me, it was about just studying the whole script, understanding the arc of the character, the arc of the story, and kind of trying to make some sense of it, and then being just flexible and ready and being like, okay, what are we doing today? Okay, got it. This scene, I'm just going to focus on this scene, and try to get through this scene. And as you do more and more scenes, then you kind of see how they go. But yeah, I had an idea of the arc of the character, of the arc of the story, and kind of where things would fit in. I will tell you, just by sheer coincidence, that when Bruce arrived to the set, which of course, that's a different day. Okay, there's a vibe on the set when Bruce is not there. Then Bruce is arriving, it's suddenly everybody's insane. We're all freaked out. He's coming, but a calm, freaked out. It's just the stakes are higher, right? Obviously, I mean, here we are, we're just kind of making our film and doing our thing. And now the big guy is coming here. It's like, and not only that, it's like, oh, I'm going to be doing a scene with him too. Oh my God, what have I done to myself? No, so just out of sheer coincidence, the very first scene that Bruce shot on that movie, I got the call. They called me, Michael, we're doing scene whatever 121, and I'm thinking, I'm the first actor? Why me? I don't want to be the first actor. Send some other people in there. Send some other people in there. So I'm not ashamed to say I was a bit nervous. And that was a long walk from wardrobe to the set, knowing Bruce Willis was going to be up there waiting for me to do a scene. But it was great. It was great. He's very laid back. He's very chill. very humble. And once we got into it, I just tried to keep myself grounded. But yeah, I thought that was ironic that I was the very first. But to answer your question, how do you work up to the crescendo of that last, the last scene where there's the face-off? I've read this, I've read the script. I've seen where the scenes are going. I've seen what's happened. I've seen what is the damage, how high are the stakes right now. And then it's just about being in the moment. It's just, we rehearse the scene a few times. I know this is going to happen. And then I'm just going to see what happens. I'm just going to try to stay present to the scene with these guys. And then when I have to do my part, I'm going to do it and try to have, the stakes be high and it means something.
Michael, you've been around the business for a while. How much different is shooting and prepping for a movie now that we've gone through these last couple of years? I mean, how much different is the whole arc of going from getting the script, the auditions and all that? How much different does it look these days?
Well, I would say with the pandemic and COVID, that is, that radically changed in a lot of ways as far as the protocols that you have to go through, in order to shoot a movie, with testing and on-set testing and stuff like that. As far as how movies are being done, I'm not sure. I mean, my experience the last 2 years, which has really been the best run of my career, the last 2 years has been, everything has been pretty consistent. It's been last second. It's been, hey, what are you doing? There's a role. Are you available? Yeah. Okay. And then, not in all cases, but then you're on a plane. In this particular case, I was on a plane in less than 48 hours later.
Wow.
To do the movie. So it's just about being flexible and time, in movie making or TV, time, the luxury of time. That's always the thing. If you have more time, you can take more time to shoot the picture, to focus on this scene, to focus on this day's work. If you don't have the luxury of time, then things move, at a blistering pace. And when you're moving at a blistering pace, it's a skill set. It's a skill set of being flexible, staying fluid, being open, being ready for anything at any time, being ready for a monologue to be written and handed to you, and that you have to do it in an hour. And so, it's a wild ride. Yeah, it's a wild ride. So, I don't know if that answered the question. So yeah, so the difference,
I didn't know if you were continuing.
Yeah, no, the difference. I mean, I don't know, because the movies I've been doing, they've all been pretty consistent as far as we've had a lot to do, and we've had to really stay focused, and it's taken a team effort, and we haven't had the luxury of time to spend 2 days on 2 scenes. So
that's cool. That's cool.
I
Now,
think the biggest thing has been, the COVID restrictions. That has majorly changed, how we shoot films, as far as not as far as how we execute the actual scenes and the shooting of the scenes, but the mask protocols, you leave your mask on until if you're an actor, right till you're ready to shoot. So we rehearse in our masks. And so that's the biggest thing that's changed.
now, do you find it harder to get into character or stay into character because of all the protocols? Have they helped or hurt the cause, if you will?
Well, it's not comfortable to be indoors, let's say somewhere really hot or somewhere outdoors hot in a mask. Well, for outdoors, and we might not have to wear the mask as much at the 6 feet, et cetera. But I'm fine with it either way. You know, it's an inside job. I do the work internally, and um, it's easier to rehearse without a mask because you can kind of get a feel of what you're doing with the other actor or actress. And um, so, but yeah, I didn't, I think my experience and I've done uh, since the pandemic, I think I've done five movies, and it's just, it's been, okay, we just adjust. We just stay flexible. Okay, this is the new protocol for now, and we just do it.
Now, how do you see the movie industry moving forward after all of this? I mean, I know we probably streaming went a little quicker than we all expected it to be available. How do you see that playing out in the years to come?
Yeah, I mean, this time that we spent all, holed up in our places, it definitely accelerated the streaming platform if it wasn't already really accelerating at a rapid
Right.
rate. Now it's really moved in and it's made a big move, and I don't think it's going to change. Um, as far as theatrical releases and as far as how many theaters there are in the country, I think that's going to greatly diminish. Um, I love to see movies in a theater, and but I just think humans were such creatures of habit, and we start to create a new habit of watching movies at home. I mean, we've been doing that for a while already, but the balance of going to the theater and watching some at home, and now it's kind of
Mhm.
like I don't know. I wonder if it's going to be kind of, I don't know if we need to go to the theater. And then you have to ask yourself how many people are going to want to be going to theaters. There's a demographic out there that's probably like, yeah, I'm not going to feel comfortable to go into a theater for a while. How long? So I think some theaters will survive. I hope a lot survive. I don't know how many will, but I think there will always be a place uh, for people to go to the theater to have that experience. It's an adventure, and the sound and the big screen, and I think it will always be around. But I think the streaming option is going to be accessible more than ever to see those movies that a lot of times would be in the theater and you wouldn't be able to get to see them until sometime down the road.
Now, for you, what is, for you personally, has there been any particular binge that you partook in the last couple of years doing all of the streaming at home that
What
you'll
did I
admit to?
start watching? Gosh, I've watched some. See, I watched Afterlife, which is genius.
Mhm.
Ricky Gervais, 2 seasons, and I just thought this is the greatest thing ever. Please don't ever stop. So I definitely watched that. Um, I don't think I saw too many movies, but I saw some other TV shows. I'm only thinking of stuff I saw recently. Nine Perfect Strangers, which is really one of the great shows I've
Yeah.
seen in a
Mhm.
long time. I would put it up there with Breaking Bad and Ozark and Fargo season one. And uh, what else did I watch? Yeah, I didn't do too much binge watching. I can tell you lately that I've seen some movies. One of my favorite movies out right now is called Coda. It's on Apple TV. It's a really powerful movie. It's a great story. Um, and what else have I seen? I saw that. Um, I'm at a loss for words. Listen, that should go to show you that there's so much out there, unless you take notes, right? Unless you take notes of what you saw, And then you could just refer to your list and be like, I watched, my parents watch a lot of shows. I guarantee you, if I called them and said, hey, what have you seen in the last year? My dad would be like, ask your mom. Yeah. Ask your mom.
Hey, I've gone to the old school. I've started streaming Cheers all the way from the beginning again. So that's where I'm at right now.
Really? Oh, speaking of Cheers, now I didn't go hardcore into Cheers, but my favorite television show of all time happens to be based on a character that is in Cheers. And his name is Frasier.
I knew where you were going.
Greatest TV show of all time.
You and my wife agree with that one.
Greatest TV show of all time. Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. So I'm glad. So I've been interested. I'm like, yeah, someone asked me the other day, wasn't he on Cheers? And I said, yeah. And I'm like, why have I if I'm this big of a fan, I would think I would have gone through that journey. So I think I'm going to follow your lead on that.
Okay. That you will not be disappointed. I promise.
Okay, good. Good.
Now, Michael, how long did it take you to get used to seeing yourself on the screen and feeling comfortable seeing yourself on the screen, or has that ever occurred for you?
I suppose I'm getting more and more comfortable seeing myself on the screen. Historically, it was pretty difficult, and I would usually have a trash bag nearby to be puking in, going, why did I do that? Why did I look that way, Mike? All this insanity. Lately, it's been easier. I think what makes it challenging as an actor watching yourself is that I am paying attention to details that perhaps not everybody or probably nobody is looking at. Maybe sometimes they are, but it's that looking at yourself through a magnifying glass at every gesture, every expression, every movement, the way you pick the phone up, the way you I have to be careful not to get caught up in this whole thing of being perfect, because nobody's perfect. Humans are not perfect. People are not perfect. Why does the character need to be perfect and do everything like that? So that's the tricky part, is you want to be perfect. You want to hit your, you want to dot your I's and hit every mark and do everything exactly right. And if there's something that's a little off, or you make a decision or deliver a line that you don't like so much, then you think, God, I could have done it that way. I could have done it that way. But lately, and with this movie, ironically enough, which is the biggest break of my career, I don't know what that means, to be honest with you, Cameron. This could mean that I was horrible in the movie, because I was kind of going, I'm holding up okay. I'm doing okay, So I either that's just watching myself more and more on screen over the last 2 years and kind of getting accustomed to it and having more confidence. I don't know, but yeah, it's always kind of a gut wrenching experience the first time you watch something.
That's like when you asked earlier if this was going to be audio only or video. I've had so many videos over the last year and a half doing this podcast, and I can't stand what that guy looks like on the screen looking back at me. So most of the videos have not made it up just because I can't get past seeing myself on the screen. So they're just now starting to do that. My wife made me do it a couple of weeks ago, and so there we go. That's where we go.
Okay. That's funny. So you watch it back and you're like, look at me.
Yeah, I've gone back and tried
this out. They'll put me in a padded cell.
Yep, I go look at them, and finally my wife was like, "You just need to stop looking at them. Just cut the beginning and the end off, and just put it out there."
I support your wife on this one. I think you're good on camera. So
well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
But now, we get these crazy ideas. See, this is the other thing. Is this when I was a young actor, I used to pick my own pictures, right? I would shoot headshots with the photographer. I was young. I didn't know my ass from my eyebrows, but somehow I thought I'm going to pick my own pictures. I don't know why. So I would always pick pictures that nobody else would pick. Now, why was that? The reason that is that I had an image of how I wanted to portray myself. I had an image of how I wanted to look. And so I was very stuck on that. However, what people see when I would walk in the room or how people experience me would be very different than this image that I'm thinking I need to portray myself to be this cool guy who's, all this stuff. So I would pick these shots. And after that happened enough times, I got to a certain point where I'm like, I don't pick my own shots at all. If you want my input, I'll give you my 2 cents, knowing that I'm probably wrong, but you tell me what works. I tell my agents, you tell me what works. I mean, I'll give you my 2 cents. But so that's my thing. The actors is just never pick your own shots, because we have this image of ourselves, and the Buddhists talk about it. We carry around this image of ourselves. And it may not be how people actually perceive and experience us.
I hadn't thought of it that way. That's good thoughts.
Yeah.
Now, again, the movie is Deadlock. It's going to be in theaters, video on demand, all millions of different ways you can come and partake in that. And Michael, I want to make sure and let our listeners know where they can keep up with everything that you've got going on, maybe social media, website, any of that kind of stuff as well.
Guys, the best way to stay in touch with me is on Instagram. It's Michael DVZ, or you can just search my name. I'm also on Facebook and I'm on Twitter. I don't have a website. However, my good friend took my website, and she says, once I get rich and famous, she's going to charge me a lot of money to buy back my website. So, but until then, there is no website and social media.
All right. Well, Michael, it has been great to visit with you today, sir. I appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule, and look forward to the new movie and hopefully catching up again in the new year.
Cool. Thanks, Cameron. Really enjoyed this.